Hi everyone, very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. As you can see, we are back on the Ninja today. Hopefully we're going to get this all put back together and running properly how it should be, with the fuel system all made up properly with everything involved that should be there. I have got this, which is the new plastic welding gun, which is what we're going to be using to repair the back of the faces. It's basically like a hot staple gun that puts little staples into the back, and they're like wiggly staples that go into the back of the plastic and obviously hold it tight together. So we're going to get that repaired today, hopefully get the cracks repaired so that they're nice and strong again, and then we can start putting it back together. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right, as you can see, I've got the side panels here. Now this one is the worst one. You could see there was a crack at the top around that fixing area, which we need to do. It goes up there, around there, down there and up there. We've also got a couple at the bottom here, one there where it's caught on something, and one down there, which we need to try and sort of flip that back so that it's the right side of itself, if that makes sense, because at the moment it's being held the wrong side. You can see there it's got a ridge in it there, so we need to obviously make that so that it's sitting flat again, so we can put the staples back in the back of it. Now that's the worst side. The other side is absolutely fine, barring this little bit here, which is the same thing again. We need to flip that so that it'll try and open that up so that it sort of then folds to be the right side of itself again, so that it sits flat against itself, and then we can staple it back together from the back. So that's going to be the plan. I might even use a little bit of heat with a heat gun on this, just to obviously soften it up a little bit, because we don't want to end up cracking it more. Get that back to the shape it should be again, and then get the staple gun going. So I'm going to do that first, and I'll come back to bring you back when I'm ready to get the staple gun set up and show you how that works. Come back to you in a minute. Right, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, we've got those now nice and flat with a bit of heat. Got them back into position again, and heated them up a little bit more, and then they sort of moulded themselves back into each other, if that makes sense. So they're nice and flat now. So now we've got a decent flat surface to staple on the back. Same with this one. I'll show you on the front there. See, it's not ridged anymore. It's smooth. So that should work really nice. So I'm going to get the staple gun set up, which is in that box there, and I'll show you how it works. Come back to you in a second. Rightio, let's get this unpacked. So obviously it comes in a nice plastic case. This is the plug-in version. They do a cordless version as well, which you have to obviously charge up. But I figured, well, for the amount I'm going to be using it, it's not going to be mega often. Probably better off having a plug-in one, because then I haven't got to worry about the batteries going bad in it and having to charge it up all the time and whatever else. So we've got a plug-in one, which is fine, and it's got these little prong tips on the end, as you can see there, with a hole in the end of each one, little tiny hole in the middle. And it comes with these staples, all different shapes. There's these sort of M-shaped ones, and then there's like the sort of, I don't know what they are, they're sort of wiggly. If you can see that one there, it's got like a wiggly shape on the end of it. So it's like a wiggly sort of line as such. You've got just sort of some V-shaped ones in that bag there. And what we've got in this one, oh, these are the really wiggly ones, which are the ones I'm probably going to use, because obviously they get a nice grip on them. You see they've got like a wiggly sort of pattern inside there. Let me open the bag up and I'll show you properly. This is quite a good tool, this. I've used one of these before, and they do work really well. They're very strong once it's in there, because obviously it hot melts it into the plastic, and then you just snip the ends off after with the cutters. They actually provide you with cutters with this kit. So you can see there, look, it's like a wiggly staple, and basically you push that in the end of the two holes on there, like that. It heats it up when you obviously push the trigger, and once it's hot, you can melt it into the back of the plastic, let it cool for however long, 10 seconds or whatever, once you've switched the trigger off, and then you can obviously pull the tool off the back of it, and then you're left with the 2 little prongs sticking out, which you cut off with the wire cutters, and then that's a nice strong repair hopefully. Now I might go over it with some sort of epoxy glue after as well, just to give it extra strength, but this should do the majority of it. So let me get this plugged in and we'll see what it goes like. Right, we're going to start off with this one here, this crack here. You can probably just about to see that in the camera. And when you push the trigger on this, a little light comes on. See? To tell you it's heating up. Just see the smoke come off of it then. It does heat up really fast by the looks of it. So I'm going to see what this goes like. So let it cool for a second. Too quickly. Before you try and pull the heat tool off the back of it, you need to obviously let it cool down, otherwise it'll just pull the staple straight back out again. Another thing you can maybe have to do with this as well is, once you've heated the staples into it, is actually smooth over the grooves over the top of the staple with a normal soldering iron after. There you go. See, that's in there now. See that? So basically I'm going to go right along that crack with those all the way along. You can't see it from the front, hopefully. No, you can see nothing on the front there. Sorry, it's a bit of a naff camera angle. Oh, hit the camera. You can see you don't see it from the front at all. So that's a nice strong repair. So I'm going to go right across that with those, and then we'll smooth it over after with a soldering iron to give it even more strength, and that should be that jobbed. Lovely jubbly. Let's carry on. There we go, that's those 2 cracks repaired. As you would have seen, I did actually revisit the staples again. I went over them again because I wasn't satisfied with how deep they'd gone. I wasn't sure how deep I could go, so I went a little bit deeper with those. As you can see now, that's all nice and strong. It's not split anymore. Obviously it's not going to be invisible from the front. You will still see slight marks there. Where are they? I'll show you in the camera. Just there. You will still see those marks, but I mean, if you wanted to make those disappear, obviously you could do the bodywork to the outside. I'm not overly fussed about that because this is obviously all original, and I don't really want to get involved with paintwork and whatever on it. I'm not actually sure whether this is paintwork or whether this is a sticker, to be honest with you. I think this bit's paintwork from looking at it, but yeah, anyway, at least it's strong. That's the main thing. So we've got that one left to do on the bottom here. As you can see, it's got needs a bit of heating up on that one because it's got an open gap in it. So we'll heat that one up, get that one straight again, and then we can look at this top repair, which was the original one that I found, which you could see first of all, obviously, when it was on the bike, you know. So let's carry on. Right there, as you can see there now, I've used the corner staples because this part on this fascia has actually got a step on the back of it where there's a thicker piece on the back to obviously reinforce it. You can see the step there. So I've used corner ones to go into the corner of the higher bit, and the flat bit of the corner bit to go into the lower bit, and then I've actually finished it off on the top there with one of the wiggly ones, which obviously finishes it off going right across the top of that crack there. So that is now level, as you can see. Hang on, get it in the camera shot. Wait a minute. You can see that's now level there. There's no step there in it anymore. It's nice and flat and nice and strong as well, which is really good. So that is done. So next thing to do on this side at least is to clip off all these little tails, and then what I'm going to do is go over the grooves with a soldering iron, as I said before, which will then completely melt the staples in so they cannot ever come out, which will be great. It'll be really a strong repair then. So I'm well chuffed with that. That is, as I say, top banana. Let's carry on. go, I've spent a little bit of time on this, and as you can see there now, although as I say this wasn't going to be an invisible repair, but you can see that crack is all closed up nice now, so that's not split anymore. It's nice and strong. If I turn it over, you can see what I've done with all the staples. Unfortunately I had to cut a little bit of the foam away there to get to the crack, because it actually ran right underneath that. It went further than I thought, and obviously we've got some in there as well, and some obviously here. I've used a combination of different staples. I've used the really wiggly ones, the corner ones to attach to this, a couple of the sort of straighter wiggly ones as well, just to put in between a few of them, and that is really strong now. So I'm going to go along now, cut all these tangs off, same as I did with the other repair that we did. Then I can go along the back of it all with a soldering iron and melt it all back together so it's totally encapsulated in there. And then I'm just going to go along with a belt sander and just buzz back the ends of these tangs, because when you cut them off, they do leave quite sharp bits. If I show you on this bit, hang on a sec, you can see there where I've cut those off, you can just see the ends of them. They are quite sharp, so I'm going to melt this back down first so I don't get rid of any of the excess plastic that I need to use to remelt it, and then I'm going to go over these with a belt sander and just smooth them off so they're nice and smooth, so if anyone ever works on it in the future they won't catch their hands on it, which is obviously great. You can see that one on the front there now. Again, you can still see there was a crack there, or is a crack there, but it's not opened up and it's really nice and strong. So that is all I wanted, was just to make it so that they weren't going to get any worse, rather than it being a totally invisible repair. I'm pretty pleased with that. Actually, it looks quite tidy. I know you can see there's a line there, but you know, it is what it is. It's okay. It's good. It's a good repair. Top banana. Let's carry on. Okie doke, this is the other side fairing now. Now we only had this lower section to do on this one, and as you can see I've done the stapling on there already. Wiggly ones all the way down there, and wiggly ones and a straight one at the end of that one, or straightish one I should say. Again, you can see it's not an invisible repair, but it is strong. It's not going to go anywhere, and obviously once I've melted those over with the soldering iron, that'll make that even stronger. And then, as I said, I might put a little bit of epoxy glue on the back there as well, just to give it a bit of extra strength and thickness. So that's good. I'm well chuffed with that tool. That's really good. That is absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased with that. So now, also on this side, I don't know if you can see here, this dirty patch, I did have to take the air guide off, which is this bit just here, because obviously I couldn't get to the, it sits on there like that, I couldn't get to the very edge of the crack without taking that off with the staples, so I had to take that off, which is fine. That was only screwed on with self tappers. That came off really easy, so I'll give that a clean while I've got that off, and give it a clean inside the air duct to make sure it's all as clean as possible. So that's that part of it done now. So there's no other damage on the fascias as far as I know. So we can get start getting the rad back in now. Now that's done, so that's good. So I'll finish off these repairs with the soldering, as I said, and buzz the ends off. Once I've cut these tangs off, buzz the ends off with a belt sander on this one as well, and then we can carry on. Lovely jubbly. There we go then, that is one side complete. I've done the easy side first, so it's complete and done out of the way, because there's only two little small cracks on this one. That is all buzzed back smooth, ground down, so there's no sharp edges there now, and obviously melted it all in with the soldering iron first, so that is good. I might just put a little bit of epoxy glue over there as well, just so it's got a little bit of extra strength over that melted plastic that was melted and now is now not. Just obviously for a bit of extra strength more than anything else. and that should be good to go. We need to put this air duct back on there. It just goes on there like that, which obviously I can screw that back on after. And that is this side done. I'm going to do exactly the same to the other side over there. Obviously we've got a few more bits to do on that one, where you've seen I've stapled it in sort of 3 areas. I've done this little one down here, those 2 there, and the original one that I saw at the top there. So I'm going to go around, do all the same with those, and then we can move on to the next job. Let's carry on. Rightio, I've buzzed all the bits back and I've melted them all together on this fascia now. And as you can see, I've put a layer of the epoxy glue on the back as well, just for a little bit of extra strength. Not that I think it needs it, but you know, I like to go belt and braces on things. Same with this one. So we'll let that dry now, and while that's drying, we can look at start getting the rad put back in this. Let's carry on. Just started it up for the first time since we first started it on video, just to try and obviously get the coolant through, make sure I've just put all the coolant back in it again to make sure that obviously it's circulating around all right, get rid of any air out of it, and also to make sure there's no leaks, and let that paint obviously heat cure a bit on the manifolds, because it does need a bit of heat to cure sometimes. Sounds good. Oop, did sound good. Now bear in mind I haven't even looked at the plugs on this yet, which is something I want to do. Either just take them out and clean them, or actually replace them, one of the two. But it seems like it's not stuttering when you rev it up anymore. And also this is the first time I've started it since I've had obviously the casings back on and a lot of oil in it, so obviously we're checking for leaks for that as well. So I'm going to let this warm up for a while, get it all up to temperature hopefully, and then carry on going. Lovely jubbly. Right, a little bit of an update for you. It's now stopped smoking, which is great. We have had a bit of a spillage on this side of coolant, only because I think I may have overfilled that slightly, and it did have some air in it, which it then burped out the drain pipe, which is at the back. I wondered what the hell was going on. There was water started dripping out the back onto the back wheel, but it's burped itself down now, so that's absolutely fine. It's revving up lovely. Revving up lovely now. So I think we're okay on the coolant side of things. I've also just put the clutch in and kicked it into first while it's up on the stand to get the gearbox moving. So obviously make sure it goes through all the gears all right, which it does. So there you go. I think that's, I might have gone into third there. That's second. third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it goes through all the gears, lovely, which is great. Which that's the first time I've tried that, because this is the longest I've actually had it running. It's up to temperature now, as you can see on the gauge over here. I'm just waiting for the fan to kick in, so I know the fan's working all right. Obviously I had that unplugged, so I want to make sure that kicks back in and that it's all cooling as it should be, and then we can shut it off and carry on with the rest of it. Lovely jubbly, let's carry on. I don't know whether you can hear that, the fan has literally just kicked on. Yeah. So that is lovely jubbly. That means the cooling fan's working alright, the thermostat's working alright. Yeah, it's just cut off again now. So that is all working absolutely perfectly. That is really good, I'm so pleased, because you never know. And the temperature has not gone above halfway. It must have just ticked above halfway, kicked the fan on, pulled it back down again, and that is absolutely perfect. So I'm well chuffed with that. That is top banana. Lovely jubbly. Rightio, as you can see, I've got the tank tied up on a piece of rope so that it's out of the way. I just took one of the spark plugs out to see what they're like, and they actually look quite new, to be fair. They don't look like there's anything wrong with them. They're a bit black, so I'm just going to give them a little clean up with a brass wire brush so that it doesn't damage the end of them, and I think they'll call that good. I'm going to clean this one up and I'll come back to you, show you what it looks like, and then we'll go from there. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see there now, just cleaning that plug up with a brass wire brush, and it has come up lovely and clean, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. It actually doesn't look very old at all. So I think I'm going to run with these. They are okay, and the bike is starting and running a lot better now it's been run a few times as well. So I'm going to go through, clean each one of these plugs up, and then maybe we'll do a little start up on it and see what it runs like. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, I've gone through all the plugs and they are all clean and nice, no problems with them at all. They're all in good condition, don't need changing, so I'm not going to change those. Save a few pounds there. Got the lower airbox bolted back in. The pipes that come in from the front vents, they're all connected up, and we've got a nice new oil filter, sorry, not oil filter, air filter that I've put in the housing, because the old one, literally as soon as you touched it, my finger went through it, so that just sits on there like that. And that should be lovely jubbly. So then I can get the top cover put back on, which is up here, and those last two pipes, air pipes, connected up, and then I think possibly the tank can go back down and stay down and be bolted down, so that should be good. So I'm going to get all that done, and then maybe we'll start it up and see what it's like with the airbox and back on and the plugs all cleaned. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, tank's just resting there at the moment, but let's see what it starts up like. The old immobiliser. See the lights flash. Give it a little bit of a choke, I would imagine. It's over there. Oh, look at that! On the button. Lovely. That sounds good. Sounds really good actually. Very nice and smooth. No smoke. Oh yeah. Nice and quiet now. That airbox on it was a bit throaty before, obviously because it was sucking air in straight from the outside, but now it's got that airbox on. It'll stay running or not with the... There we go. That's the choke in now. That's just steam coming out of the exhaust there, so that's alright. Considering that's not got any heat in that yet, that's just sort of a cold start and the choke's now off. That's pretty good. Might let that warm up for a little while now and just cycle it through, just to give it a couple of heat cycles. It's had a couple already, obviously, when we started it up on film, but I'll let that tick over for a little while, get a bit of warmth into it, and should be good. And then we can get the tank bolted back down permanently and all the seats and everything back on, and then we should be somewhere near it. I've still got more cleaning to do on it, but obviously I'm not going to keep filming me cleaning because it's going to take forever. Obviously you saw me machine polish these fairings. I'm going to machine polish the rest of the paintwork on the bike as well to get off any little marks and whatever that might be on it. Yeah, I'm all chuffed for that. That's good. Lovely jubbly. Sounds like it's going to conk out. Sounds good, that. Lovely jubbly. Top banana. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. Remember what I always say, end on a high. You're on a positive thing on the project you're doing or whatever. Go away and come back another day and it'll carry on going smoothly, hopefully. So hopefully the next episode on the Ninja will be the final episode. It is getting very close, as you've seen now, to being ready for MOT. There are a couple of other jobs I want to do on it. I need to paint this exhaust, so that can's all scratched up, and give everything a proper degreasing, obviously on the back where that chain has just literally thrown lube everywhere, where it's obviously been added to over the years or whatever else. It's just built up and built up and built up. So that needs to be, the rear hugger needs to come off, the cover on the front sprocket needs to come off, all cleaned out, clean the chain out, make it all nice again, and obviously get the rest of the residue off that back wheel, because it has still got a load of gunk on the back wheel. Other than that, I do want to check the brake fluid. We may do a little brake fluid flush on it, because obviously it is old, and brake fluid, as you probably know, is hydroscopic, I think is the right word, which means it attracts water, so over time it will get water in it, which obviously is no good for your braking capacity. So yeah, we need to have a little look at that and maybe lead the brakes through, and then we should be ready for MOT. With any luck, fingers crossed. So if you do like what you see, then maybe consider subscribing if you're new here. And also remember, I've got Instagram, MEC_TEC 1985, and Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all that is left for me to say is, if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again soon. Cheers guys.